Morning, fellas.
Morning.
And here we are. So, actually, golly, I got some update. You know, we're in week 27 of this, and we're actually going to. I think I can finish this at week 30. So we will be going into January, but I know John White just been after me about this whole thing.
Next week you said the end of the year.
Well, I'm going to read Nick here. The only trouble with saying that you're going to be done at the end of the year is there's not enough weeks in the end of the year, so I got to go over. So today, next week, and the week following, we're going to be. I know you guys can't see this, but we're going to be covering these. We're going to be covering large portions of text at table time. So most of our time for the next 3 weeks is going to be around table time, processing what we have already learned, and looking at the latter years of Jacob's life in light of what we have been studying. In really the pivotal chapters are 32, 33. So that's where we're going, and then when we finish that, after week 30, then we'll launch out into the Gospel of John, and we'll be looking at that. So here we are, week 27. Make sure here, we're all set to go. We are now here. We're moving in, and the line, downward lines generally are perceived as not good. Well, that is not the case here. The downward line meaning really key idea is releasing control. We get to a point, guys, in our lives where we just don't have to be the center of attention and or take control. You know, we're able to release it, and hopefully, as the power of the Holy Spirit is working within us, it becomes a little bit easier. Never perfect, but at least we're aware of it. And that's what this descent, and through that releasing of control, I'm suggesting that it is the way of wisdom. It is the sage. It is, where the younger person comes to the older person and wants to sit and just listen. And guys, many of us are, we're entering into that age where we have opportunity to be that person and hopefully impart life to the next generation. So descent, wisdom here, versus here, if the transforming power of the Holy Spirit is in our lives, this would be the natural path. The alternative path is the embittered fool, where the hardness of life that experienced here is just it is held within and not released, and we end up a bitter old man, and that's not where we want to be. So that's where we're at. This descent of wisdom. Key idea from last time is being transformed is not about attainment to some sort of static ranking. Remember how we talked about that, where I asked the question, are you transformed? Well, I don't know. Well, theologically, yes, we are transformed through Christ, and we are being transformed, and we will be transformed. But we tend to think of it as an attainment, and I'm just kind of, I'm challenging that. It is not an attainment, although there is a time when we will be fully transformed as we transition over to the other side. But rather, it's about a dynamic response. It's a dynamic, meaning it's varied, and it's based on occasion, a particular moment in time. It's a response at a moment in time, and it's based entirely on trust. And so therefore, and we've learned this through our study in chapters 32 and 33, is that the key element that we're looking for in Jacob's life is this idea of capacity to seek and receive grace. This is fundamental, at least from my perspective, as far as an indicator of the transforming power within our lives, is our ability to seek and to receive grace. Otherwise, we're trying to do it ourselves. And this capacity is in direct proportion to my then ability to let go and release. If I'm able to receive grace, then it gives me the power and the impetus to release control. That's where we have been, and this is what we'll be looking at in Jacob's actions now for the remaining of the time. We'll be looking at these two ideas: capacity to receive grace and ability to let go. So this morning, what we're going to be looking at is chapters, part A. There's 3 parts. We'll look at part B next week, and we'll be filled in here, and then part C, the end. We're covering over the next 3 weeks these chapters. 15 chapters, right here. They'll be filled out, and then this is our focus area. It's all covering here in descent, and it's the idea of releasing control. So we're going to be looking at chapters 34 and 35 today. And we're going to have plenty of time. And here is really a quick breakdown of chapters 34 and 35, part A, Jacob's way of descent. We're looking at Jacob's experience. Genesis 34, 1 through 31 is the story of the Shechem incident, a horrific story. My goodness, I just shake my head. We've studied it in great detail, and during the Shechem incident, Jacob does nothing. Okay, we're going to look at that. One of your tables is going to look at this. Then in Genesis 35, 1 through 15, this takes the whole chapter. So this table right here, you guys take that one on.
Which one?
Genesis 34, the entire chapter, the Shechem incident. I'm going to give you some questions in just a moment, but this will be your assignment, what you guys will be talking about at the table. And then Genesis 35, 1 through 15, Jacob hears from God, and then he builds an altar, he rallies, then he comes up, he rallies his family, and he says, we got to get home, we got to get back to Bethel, So there's 1 through 15. And we'll have that Bob Powell and you guys back there, and John and Carl and Arthur. You guys take that one on, if you would, please. And then Genesis 35, 16 through 20. That is on the way back to Bethel. Benjamin is born, and Rachel dies. So there's this mixed of tremendous joy, tremendous sorrow mixed. Jacob buries Rachel. So we'll look at that. Alan and Dick, would you guys take that one on? You two guys. And then Steve, you guys right here, take the last 2 here. Genesis 35, 21 through 22, Reuben incident. Jacob does nothing again. And that's when Reuben goes in and has sex with one of his Jacob's concubines, Bilhah. So that one, it's just a couple verses. And then 35 wraps up with Jacob finally gets home. Their father, Isaac dies, and Esau and Jacob together as brothers bury their father, which is a beautiful picture of reconciliation. So, and if Steve, if you guys would take that one here. So the questions then at your table, and then are these. Here are the 1, 2, 3, and then this table will take these 2 right here because they're short. And here's the questions that can stimulate some ideas. Is how do you describe Jacob's action in the text that you're discussing in light of his experience? You've got lots of study time and reflections on his experience. So look at these 2, and then what can you most relate to? It'd be nice to personalize it at the table and talk about your own experience, how you can relate, or not relate, and then where do you still have questions? And questions are great. Questions are fine. So I'm going to leave this up here. Everybody clear on their assignment? And then we got time, so I think I'll bring it back together And last 5 minutes, we'll have some group time. So, all right, let's have some fun.
Did you know the first breakdown again?
Okay, we got 35, 1 through 15.
Should we? Okay.
Do you all want to read a side over there?